ambitious is how best to describe the 2025 appropriation plans of President Bola Tinubu. The President has presented the 2025 budget proposal of 47.9 trillion naira to the National Assembly for legislation. The proposed budget underscores the administration's commitment to driving economic growth, infrastructure development, and social welfare initiatives. It focuses on key sectors such as energy, healthcare, education, and security, with the aim of creating a more sustainable and resilient economy. Now let's share some aspects of the budget presentation by the President to a joint session of the National Assembly with you.
Key priority areas: rebuilding Nigeria. Our budgetary allocation underscore this administration's strategic priorities, particularly in advancing Renew Hope agenda and achieving its developmental objectives. The highlights of the 2025 budget allocations: defense and security, 4.91 trillion naira. Infrastructure, 4.06 trillion naira. Health, 2.48 trillion naira. Education, 3.5 trillion naira. The time for lamentation is over. The time to act is now. It's a time to support and promote greater investment in private sector. A time for our civil servants to faithfully execute our policies and programs. It is a time for every Nigerian to look hopefully towards a brighter future, because a new day has dawned for us as a nation. As your president, I remain committed and resolute to continue to lead the charge.
All right, let's bring the conversation into the studio. BKL, this 47.9 trillion naira budget.
Yes.
What are your thoughts generally? Let's start with that one.
It's the biggest budget in Nigerian history. And the 4 trillion naira allocated to infrastructure reflects the president's desire to make big things happen in that sector. The president believes that infrastructure development can be the catalyst or the trigger for economic growth and development in our country. And remember, when America slipped into recession, Obama said, we shall spend ourselves out of recession. What he meant was that we are going to focus on infrastructure renewal, building new infrastructure and all that. That will give employment to a lot of people. And you turn a place to a construction site. Even food vendors will benefit. Contractors will benefit. Suppliers.
Direct and indirect.
Yes, a lot of people will benefit from that. Employment generation, you know what we are talking about. So the president is taking infrastructure development seriously. That's why he's committed that kind of money to infrastructure development. You see, we have not seen the breakdown. I believe that in the coming days, we'll see what is allocated to each subsector and all that. But we know that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Route is a priority project of this administration. The Sokoto Badagry Superhighway as well is another priority. And I'm saying, even when you go to the airport in Abuja now, you see the lanes being expanded. You know, the president has, as Minister of Works, somebody who is very determined, very aggressive, and really forward-looking. So you will not expect anything less. Sure. Infrastructure will be something that the president will prioritize in his budget. And again, you look at defense and security, 0.91 trillion going into defense and security, exactly, which is a significant increase over allocation to those sectors in previous years. It means that the president is committed to improving our armed forces and the paramilitary agencies, is committed to boosting their capacity and capability. The other day, the Air Force was talking about some of the new airplanes that they are bringing, and I'm saying, is this Nigeria? The number of airplanes coming in at the same time, it has never happened. It has never happened. Let anyone who covers, who knows a lot about defense, tell us when we acquired that quantum of bombers and other air platforms at the same time. That number, under the current leadership of the Air Force. But you know that he cannot bring those things in all by himself. It has to be with the approval of the Commander-in-Chief. So you can see the significant allocation to defense and security shows that the president realizes that we still have a long way to go in terms of securing our people. And he wants to do his best to ensure that things improve in that area. And then, of course, health, 2.48 trillion. Out of this, 402 billion is dedicated to healthcare infrastructure. That means we'll see significant improvement in terms of health centers, basic health centers, and all that. And out of this, 282.65 billion is going to basic healthcare fund. So our states are coming up with primary health centers in the political wards. That is the ideal thing. In each political ward, you need to set up a primary health center. That's not what we have. You find that even in the local government, maybe just one. That shouldn't be the case. We will bring healthcare closer to our people. The diseases killing our people are preventable. The ailments that our people are going down for, they are preventable. Why should we have a situation in which women who want to give birth have to then travel several kilometers? In the process, some of them die. Sure. On the way to the health center, the nearest health center, many of them die. So I'm happy that so much money is being set aside for health. If I have my way to be greater than that, but at least this is a good starting point. Okay. Let's hope that the money will be released in good time. Because that's another key issue. That's another key issue. What is the point in coming up with gargantuan amount of money, and then the money gets released maybe in the third quarter? That has already compromised the budget performance. True. But we did, all right, let's look at the revenue projection. According to the set of 34.82 trillion naira. But in your opinion, what are the strategies the government needs to do to boost its revenue?
Okay. Thank you very, very much. When he was talking about the budget being very good on paper, my mind went to the question you just asked. Because what determines the performance of a budget is not just how beautiful it actually looks on paper. Part of what makes it work is actually the ability of government to drive, to generate revenue. And of course, you already know that a lot of reforms are going on.
Yeah, the tax reform.
Tax reforms and all of that. So what I would say, what part of what government should look at is making sure that the big wigs, the big players that actually do not like to help government to generate revenue, people who evade tax, you understand, who evade taxes, you understand, they are made to pay taxes. Apart from that, the loopholes in the systems, there are a lot of loopholes.
Are you talking about spreading the tax net?
No, I'm talking, the rich, already, if you look at the tax reforms, already, if you look at the tax reforms, you understand that the whole idea is to make the rich pay more.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Yes. And then give respite to
the vulnerable.
To the vulnerable. Now, many people that are rich like to avoid, payment of tax. In some other crimes, tax evasion is criminal.
Sure.
People go to jail for it. I mean, Senate crimes, you know that already. But in Nigeria, a lot of people escape taxes. Then we're talking about, there are some players, big players, that even the tax duties, the tax need to be increased. The other time we talk about those manufacturing, the SSB, sugar sweetened beverages, that they're not paying enough.
Talking about generating revenue.
So I also expect institutional reforms, you understand, to prevent wastage, leakage. You understand? Leakage and corruption, proper monitoring, a lot of funds.
Use of technology.
Thank you very much.
To remove human interference.
Exactly, because a lot of funds go down the drain that are not being. Some of these funds can be used to execute the budget. You understand? But so we have a whole lot that government has to do. See, it's not enough to, like we said, it's not enough to just put all of these figures, and then we talk about defense, beautiful. Defense is 4.9 trillion. Talk about infrastructure. These are important aspects of the economy. But we must be able to get money, you understand, to fund all of this. And the money has to be released on time.
The money has to be released on time.